name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord, take me where you want me to go. Let me meet who you want me to meet. Tell me what you want me to say, and keep me out of your way. Amen.
Last week we heard from Anna about how in this time of isolation and being away from everybody and things just falling apart and having more time on our hands than ever, we reflected on how this can magnify some of the wounds that maybe we covered up or we didn't even know were there. And we're going to continue with this series tonight with John Kuckelman talking about how this time can also be a time for the Lord to reveal dreams that we have, maybe we didn't even know, or maybe even dreams that only the Lord knows that we have, that only the Lord could ever fulfill. But first, T-Pain has some advice to surviving quarantine.
Hello, my name is Teresa Payne and I'm a junior at St. Thomas Aquinas, and tonight I'm going to tell you guys the top 3 things that I've learned during quarantine. The first one is take a break, and this is from your phone, social media, and just people in general. I think everyone deserves a break at some time in their life, and right now is the perfect time to do that. I gave up my phone for about 2 days last week, and it was so refreshing. I wasted a lot of time on my phone, and I definitely could be more productive, and I don't really need my phone right now, and I know I'm not really missing out on anything. Last week Anna talked about how important it is to take some time in silence, and I think it's so important to have quiet time to ourselves just to gather our thoughts and be able to breathe and think without any distractions. There's so many things to do with our time right now. What I've been doing is reading books, working out, cooking, painting, pretty much everything that I can do at my house. I know I struggle a lot with boredom, and I just need to put in the effort, I've realized, and once I do, then I can be very productive. Another thing is scripture is so good. My favorite Bible verse, which my mom taught me, is Matthew 6:21, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." And my mom's told me this whenever I'm struggling because it reminds me not to lose sight of my faith and just do everything for God. We need faith in our lives to stay on track and make good decisions, especially in this time of struggle. In grade school, I can't really remember when, I decided I wanted to read scripture, but I've always struggled with knowing how to read scripture and really understand it. So I decided that I would just read the Bible from cover to cover, which isn't really a good idea. It didn't really work very well. I don't really recommend it, but I've realized that my favorite way to read scripture is through a book, which is called Jesus Calling, and it has daily meditations for you to do every day, and then a scripture passage that goes along with it. So I definitely recommend it. It's a really good and simple way to start your day. The second thing that I learned during quarantine is relationship with God takes effort. I used to struggle with comparing myself to others, especially at youth group and things like that. And I used to think that you had to follow these certain steps and instructions to have a relationship with God. And I realized during this time that it has to be a relationship with just you and Him. And it takes a lot of effort and time if you want to have that relationship. And there also aren't really any instructions to how to have a relationship with God. You just have to make it your own. At retreats and camps and trips that I've gone on with church, I have always left them on this Jesus high. And I want that all the time, and I want that high to last, but it takes effort, which I've learned. And the third thing that I've learned during quarantine is that the friendships I value most are rooted on our faith. And it's so important to have these people in your life that you can count on, not only just for life, but especially for your faith and your prayer. And it's okay to have these people that don't go to your school, because my very best friend, she doesn't go to Aquinas, but that has been the biggest blessing, because even though I miss her, I know that no matter how long we go without seeing each other, we can always pick up right where we left off. I know that God places people in our lives at a certain time for a reason, and I'm so blessed to have the Life Team community, because I know that this is such a good place to meet those people that you can count on. So I'm so thankful for all of you, and thank you for listening to me, and God bless.
Good evening. My name is John Kuckelman. This is what I looked like in the 70s. I had a lot more hair. And yes, I was in the Air Force for 4 years. This is closer to what I look like now. This is my wife, Carmel. We've been married 35 years. We met in college. I was her calculus tutor. She didn't pass the class. This is our family. We have 5 children and 1 daughter-in-law, and we look like the perfect family there. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. These are my 3 grandsons. They're ornery and full of energy. They're living with us now during the pandemic, and it's good. There's a lot more energy in the house. I'm kind of fascinated with this 3D art that people do on sidewalks and parking lots. So this is somebody drew this on a flat piece of ground. This is just a floor, but the way they drew it makes it look like it's in 3D. So there is no pit there. It's actually a flat piece of floor, but it's just the way the artist drew the picture. I'll show you a couple of others. This looks like a pit where people are falling in. This looks like a big box of chalk on the sidewalk. This looks like a Coke bottle. This looks like a stream. It's actually on a flat piece of ground. It's just hard to believe that they can draw it in such a way. These are 3D soldiers, like little Lego men. And the thing about these is it's all about the perspective. It's all about, they only look good from one direction. Uh, they don't look good any other way. So I'll show you this picture. This is what it looks like looking the other way. And you can see it's just a mess. Like the faces are real long. It's just not attractive at all. So it was drawn only from one perspective. So this is the front view, the way the artist drew it, and this is the other view. And this is often how I see myself. I see myself as this big mess. The things I can't do, that not enoughs, like Anna talked about last week. You know, wanted to play the guitar. Guess what? I got fingers that are so short and so fat, you can't play the guitar. Wanted to be a doctor. I can't even fill out the questionnaire when you donate blood. I pass out during that. I'm not going to be a doctor. So I can focus on all those flaws, all those views of myself, or I can think about how God perceives me as this perfectly created being for a specific purpose, for a specific plan. He has a plan. All of my shortcomings he'll use as part of my plan, everything. So it's all about how you look at it, every single thing. I think about the story about the man walked by this construction site and he asked one man, "What are you doing?" And he said, I'm carrying blocks." And he asked the other guy, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm building a wall." And he asked the third guy, "What are you doing?" "I'm building a cathedral. So it's all about how you're looking at it. Are you focused on all the things that are not quite perfect, or in your mind not quite perfect? But I promise you they are perfect. They were there for a specific purpose. So this is how God sees us. So you can see them side by side now. You can see, are you looking at it from the left-hand side, yourself, looking at yourself, your situation, your family, everything? Or are you looking at it the way God sees you through the right-hand side? So back to this picture, depending on how I look at it, I know all the stuff, all the messy stuff inside this family. Am I looking at it from the right-hand side or from the left-hand side? So are you looking at things from the left-hand side or from the right-hand side, like God does? So this is from Jeremiah, and I just think this is truth. "For I know well the plans I have in mind for you, plans for your welfare and not for woe, so as to give you a future of hope." So I believe God has a perfect plan for you. With all of your flaws, with all of your shortcomings, all that is part of his perfect plan. And you were created specifically to accomplish this perfect plan. No one else can do it. And if you don't do it, it doesn't get done. And his plan for you will bring you great joy. And his plan for us is revealed to us over time, little by little. We probably couldn't deal with it if he showed us the whole plan for our life all at once. So I wanted to just share with you part of what God had planned for me, and I had no idea this was coming. I didn't see it coming, would have never guessed it, but it involves the country of Haiti. So just so you know, Haiti's the poorest country in the hemisphere. 60% of the people live on less than $2 a day. It is just miles and miles and miles of poverty. Poverty so bad you cannot believe it. I've seen things there you just cannot believe. In 2010, they had a bad earthquake, killed thousands of people. And I went there 2 years after that earthquake in 2012 for the first time. And I went there because a friend of mine went and really just wasn't sure why I was going. But I was powerfully shaken by that experience. I know that I wept from the 15-minute drive from the airport to where I was going to stay, just at the things that I saw. It was just really powerful for me. But I really didn't have any idea why I was there. I just went because a friend of mine kept telling me stories and decided I needed to go. So this was school. This was this. We spent a lot of time at this kindergarten through high school. There's 600 students there, and the school building collapsed in the earthquake. So they started having school in these carport awnings, and I just never seen anything like that. Couldn't believe it, but that was school. And so, like, this is math class. This was real school. This some of you would probably struggle with this math. I might struggle with this math, but this was real live school. This is me making peanut butter sandwiches in an alley, and just the hungry children everywhere. It's one of my favorite things to do. It makes me so joyful. Here I am handing out peanut butter sandwiches in an alley in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. I'll never forget the time that I handed a boy a sandwich, and he just stood there, and I knew he was starving. And then I understood that he wanted a sandwich for his mother. So I made him another sandwich, and he ran one home to his mother, and then he came back and ate his sandwich with me. It was just beautiful. This is a baby that was sick. She was in an orphanage, and yeah, just broke me up. And then in 2013, I went back a year later, and I met these people, these young people. These are all graduates of that high school I showed you earlier. They all studied in that tent. And we asked them, "What is your dream?" And the first boy, he said, "I want to be an architect." And someone asked, "Why do you want to be an architect?" And he said, "I want to design buildings that don't fall down in an earthquake." And remember, they had just had an earthquake 3 years before. So that was really a great, compelling reason. And every student in that circle had the same kind of answer or better. But you see, going to university is just beyond their means. These are the poorest people. Remember, 60% of the population lives on $2 or less a day. So going to college, graduating from high school is always already the highest educated in their family ever. And so going to college is just beyond their wildest dreams. So that night, I didn't sleep at all. And I knew part of what God's plan was for me, and that was to figure out how to allow these people to go to college. So I flew home and I found sponsors for all 22 of them. And I came back in March and they enrolled in college. That was in 2013. Since that time, these are more of the scholars. This picture was taken in March. I was just there in March. This is a scholar. You can see their smiles are amazing. They're beautiful. Yeah. So since that time, since 2013, 27 of them have graduated from college, and there are currently 40 students in school. It's just amazing. God, all part of God's plan, way bigger than me, way beyond my wildest dreams. This is all of us in front of one of the students' university. She took us to her university. She wanted to show us where she went to school. Actually, this girl with her arms raised up, her name is Katia. And a cool thing about Katia is that on March 28th this year, she graduated from medical school. She's a doctor in Haiti. This is where Katia lives. She invited us to dinner at her house one time. That's her house behind her. That's her mother. We looked in her house. She has dirt floors. We just gave her this Chromebook that day, and she was all excited to see this brand new computer. But you can see what her house looks like. And now Katia has a baby. And I was there in March and got to hold her baby. Beyond my wildest dreams. Look how beautiful this baby is. So I want you to know this. I'm not anything special. And God has me doing all this crazy, amazing things. And I know He wants you to do even more amazing, crazy things. He has a purpose that only you can do. So I wanted to show you one more thing. This was taken a few years ago, but this video, this is of Katia singing. And if you just listen, there's lots of background noise. Just try to ignore all that. And the reason that she quits is she catches me singing with her. And that ended her. Unfortunately, that broke up the song. But just listen to the way she sings it, the voice, the faith in her voice. She believes the lyrics of this song with all of her heart. My Jesus, my Savior, Lord, I can say that you are all of my days. I want to praise forever in my comfort, my Savior, powers and refuge and strength. All of my days, I want to praise, never sing you out. Shout to the Lord in go because there's a. Out there. Yes.